And we finish each other's sentence. Woo! The sun and the moon lines up today for us. Camel Up Off season. Is it the same as Camel Up? What we think of it? How does it play? Stay tuned.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella here from Meeple University. Welcome back to our review. This time we have Camel Up, the sequel or the off season.
Yes.
Camel Up Off season.
Indeed. So this is not Camel Up. It's not an expansion to Camel Up.
Nope.
It doesn't really resemble Camel Up. So that answers our cold open question. This is a standalone game set in the world of Camel Up. I guess thematically, between seasons of camel racing, you need to use your camels to purchase and transport goods, and that's really what this game is about.
Let's get to the overview, Tarrant.
Yes. So what this is it's essentially a big gateway drafting and push your luck game. In the game, there will be a number of markets equal to the number of players plus one. It's a 3 to 5 player game. So we've got those markets set up here. And each market has, at the start of the round, a number of face-up cards and a number of face-down cards drawn from this big deck of cards.
Yeah.
And there are some 3D components that you can put them in, kind of like the not the original Camel Up, but the newer version of Camel Up has. But we're just showing them flat here for these purposes. Then there is a turn order auction. So players with the money they already have, do a blind bid and then reveal, and whoever has the most becomes the first player.
Obviously, there is player screen as well. Hide your money. There you go.
And then in clockwise order from the first player, you pick one of the markets. So you would choose a market. So I pick this one. You would do the, you could do the effect that's showing on that market. So here, for example, you could lose one of these face down goods. You could put it on a different market. That would be your prerogative. This one, it doesn't have as many cards, but it lets you go hunting through the deck for cards that of a specific type that you want. This one will let you take a carpet from somewhere else over to here before you took it. Things like that. Then you take all the cards, and I'm just going to push these out of the way now, because now the focus is on your camel board. So these are all your resources, and you have to stack them onto your camels. And you can have one good per camel, one camel per good type. So let's say I put pottery there, and I could stack dates up on here, for example. And you would keep doing that from round to round. So let's say the second round I were to gain these. I would choose maybe to put fruit here, stack carpets here, add another date onto here, and so on. Now, because you're getting face down cards, there is a risk here. Each camel has a maximum number of goods it can hold, and if you exceed that amount, you lose all of them. So if I were to take a market right now that had 2 date cards in it, I would go over my 6 limit and I would lose all of these dates.
So this actually for selling purposes, but for this purpose is cards.
Yes. So at the end of each round, each player gets the chance to sell from one camel, and each of the 4 goods sells in a different way. So pottery, you're trying to get matching pottery. So I've got nothing I can sell here, but now I've got 2 yellow that I could sell, which would give me some amount of money.
Minimum of 2, yeah.
Yep. With the carpets, you're trying to sell different colours, so you can sell any number of different colours above 2 at once. With the dates, they come in 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and you get increasing amounts of money for every 3 that you sell at once. And the fruit is an interesting one. You've got, there are 4 types of fruit. Pomegranates are the cheapest, then oranges, bananas, and pineapples. And when you make a sale, you can sell all of your cheapest type only. So if I was selling here, I would have to sell my 1 pomegranate for 2 coins.
Before you can then work your way up to orange, and then banana, and then pineapple.
Yep. then you reset the markets and you continue going until the deck is empty. And that is fundamentally the game.
This is a really bid heavy game, so you kind of like want to try to bid earlier. I mean, bid as a first player because there might be goods that you want on the board or the power from the market that you want. And I usually, I try to bid, but I don't know how much I should bid. I'm a little bit tight when I bid, usually, in games, in general.
Yeah. Yes, I know we've played games of Scoville where nobody bids on first player at all. And it just... I think it's probably less important in that game than it is here. I think the turn order bid's certainly quite important, as you say.
Yeah. What do you think, Tarrant?
I think what they've got designed here is really clever. I think the way you're trying to maximize your money without the camels falling over with some pretty tight restrictions on how much you can sell is very clever and seems to be very well defined. I mean, there's a lot of set collecting games out there and drafting games and things like that where different types of resources will give you points in different ways. I mean, that's very standard. But adding the fact that you can only sell one and you've got to meet a criteria to sell is extremely clever here. And I've found that, if you're alluded before, if you're building up a lot of fruit, if you're coming into the last round and you're finally getting ready to sell your pineapples, you have to pick a market that is not going to give you any cheaper fruit. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with those pineapples. Mm-hmm. Or if you're building up like the pottery down here on my 3 camel, it's going to be very difficult for me to possibly even get a set of 2 to sell off this before it all falls over.
Depends on your strategy as well. You might want to put the pottery here, but then you kind of, you can't get this much dates to get a lot of money. You had some dates before, and you had some vase before. I can't remember what you had. You had a lot of things.
Yeah, what we've found through playing is that, generally speaking, unless you're playing a super conservative game, you're going to lose a stack or 2 at some point, and you've got to. That to me, in a game like this, says it's really well balanced and optimized in design. If you've got this risk of pushing your luck, but no one ever actually pushes that far, then you haven't made the benefit good enough, or you haven't made the risks high enough.
That's correct, yeah.
And then at the same time, losing one of your stacks, especially if it's a stack you're not that interested in, it's not going to wreck your game. So I think it's true. It's true. I think that side of it is really good, and I really like the different ways
of selling.
I think, as I say, it's very standard to have lots of different ways to collect each set, but I think this set of 4 works really well together.
As we said earlier, this is not Camel Up, so if you expect to find a game like Camel Up, don't play Camel Up off season, play Downforce instead or something like that. Yeah. But this is completely different, and it is still a good game. We can't really compare with the Camel Up game because it's a different game, but it is still a good gateway that can be strategized a little bit more. And there's just little things that is very clever, as you said. And the market power as well. There's one, like every round you flip it, there's one that gives you +1 ability to sell, which you want to use to get rid of the pomegranate and then sell your more expensive things, for example.
Yeah, let's just sell 2 things in one round.
Correct,
so if your camels are all getting really full, you can keep them lower.
Yeah, because you can't really okay, I've got this cheap pomegranate, I want to just put it there. You can't. You have to put all type of same good, like all fruits, because they look not the same, but still fruits goes in one camel, and then you just gotta have to also look around on your opponent and just see your opponents trying to collect carpet, for example. I mean, does that mean that they put carpets in the number 6? So that means they're probably gonna try to grab all the carpets. Do you want to compete on that, or do you want to just, if you get carpet, you just probably put it in the lower one, because there's a potential that you're not gonna get a lot of carpets, for example. Yeah.
I also like that there's only 4 goods from that perspective as well, because, and it's with a 3 to 5 player and only 4 different goods, you can't get into that situation that you sometimes get in drafting games where there's 6 or 7 different things that score in different ways. you are all competing for the same things. You're going to be overlapping, so it does
That's true,
create that
Tension,
interaction as
interaction and tension, exactly. So highly interactive. I think the only thing, well, it is a gateway. It plays quick as long as you know what the icons are. The icons is not very hard, but it could be a little bit, because there are 6 different ones here to start with. That's the only thing.
With 2
for
different
gateway.
sides.
For
So
2
there's-
different sides, so 8 or 10 different icons.
Yep, 12 actually,
12,
'cause
sorry.
there's 6
Oh, yes.
markets. So
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of these and they're written in icons, so you've got to refer to the book. You may have noticed all these things on the back of the cards as well. This changes the auction rules each round based on what's on the top of the deck. So there's a lot of different things at play there.
But there's also more replayability in that way. So it's kind of like the balance. But overall, it's a nice game that plays, what, 5 players?
Plays up to
6,
5.
5, sorry, yeah, 5 players. So the other Camel Up plays up to 6 and then 8, the newer version.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, still plays, got a few players, bit of a chaotic, high interactions, and yeah, great game.
It does have one issue. And it's
I know what you're going to say.
it's more a gamer's issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I say this understanding that this is pitched very gateway,
Which is not an issue in that way.
but it's it is the not terraforming.
Terra Mystica.
It's the Terra Mystica turn order thing. That's how I always describe it. I know it was a common thing it was very common in games, especially 10 years ago, where you've got a single first player and you've got no influence over the rest of the turn order.
You get second and then you still benefit.
Yeah, in this game, you are bidding for first and then the rest falls out clockwise. And as a Euro gamer, as someone who likes control, that can be very frustrating because you can, if someone is bidding aggressively, well, basically it takes it out of your hands. If you're in a position where there's one market you definitely don't want, but you don't care about the rest, you don't have that option to put a medium bid in and make sure you're halfway in the middle. You end up in that situation where
you get benefited or less benefit. Oh, there's one thing about the bidding bit.
Yes, I did forget to mention.
That's
assuming you're saying what I'm about to.
Yes, I know what.
Remember.
We are in sync. I know what you were going to say, and then I think, okay, go for it.
No, you do.
With the bidding, it is slightly unique. So you don't lose the money if you don't win, but it needs to be unique bid, like literally unique. So let's say if, like, 4-player game, 3 players bid 3 each, they don't win because it's not a unique bid. The one person that bids 0 will win because it's not. It's the only one that's unique.
Yeah, and so
from high to low, obviously.
Yeah, and so you can see it's one of those things that prevents you from, mathing out, all right, I know that this card is worth a maximum of 7 points to me, so I'm going to bid 4 of those, knowing it's okay. It does have that bit of flukiness in there because unique bids cancel.
Well, but then again, in games like Camel Up Off season, I don't think people going to math it out like, or maybe they do. I don't know. I certainly don't. Usually.
Well, there were times I knew that there was something that was not going to. I wouldn't bid 15.
Oh, maybe yes, okay.
Before I placed a bid of 15, I would have to know I was going to get more than 15 out of it.
That's actually fair. All right, is that it, Tarrant?
Yeah, I think so. We can say all these things coming at it as experienced Euro gamers and say randomness, and I hate that randomness. It is something that's going to frustrate some players, no doubt. But it did frustrate me to some extent as well.
But yet you like it.
I like the game, and I really like everything else about the way that's designed. And overall, I still give it a positive review, and it's the sort of thing that I would
bring to meetup.
I would bring to meetups. I would introduce to newer gamers at meetups.
And we finish each other's sentence. Woo! The sun and the moon lines up today for us.
Yes.
What did you do?
What?
Well, that's it. Have you played Camel Up? Have you played Camel Up Off season? what do you think? So this is the newer one, the off-season version. Do you like push your luck? Do you like bidding games? Is there any other games that is similar to this that you like, that you would recommend? Let us know in the comments. And that's basically it. If you can help us by hitting the like button, that would be much appreciated. You can also subscribe to us with a video like this, how to play, live playthrough on the weekend, and my short and sweet overview, and so on. I'm also on Instagram, so find me there. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.